Well, welcome to my doghouse, the greatest place on earth. This is going to be about HALES Preston number 3. My opinion only. This is not meant as true factual. This is an opinion. Maybe I have to say it a little slower. It is my opinion. Does not make it a fact. I have the right to have my opinion. And I'm going to get into a couple of things first. I appreciate the people out there, even if they disagree with me, that has sent me messages and that. I appreciate it. But there's those out there that are just ignorant and rude too that send. I have very few of them, but they are out there. And I'm going to get at one of them right off the bat. This guy obviously didn't know what he was talking about. He accused me of getting subs in that and making it sound like a dollar amount, in the end. Guess what? That ain't the case. The majority of my stuff, probably 85% or more of my subs, come from shorts, not this stuff. On the hell stuff, it's minimum. I do get some from people saying, hey, join his channel, but that's not a lot. Like I said, the majority comes from shorts, and guess what? I'm going to keep doing the majority of myself as shorts. Not because you guys aren't going to come up with some smart ass remark, it's because I like doing them. So, anybody that thinks I'm getting all these views because of Jeremy and Lynette, or Michelle, whatever name you want to use, are fools. It's not happening. I'm clear across the country in the United States, but clear across the country, and my opinion won't make a difference one way or other. My views don't make a difference one way or other. I have every right, even though I'm that far away, to say how I feel. And two things I gotta, well, let me get something very straight. I was never brought up to hate people, and there's very few people I hate. And people, I'm going to say this slow too, so you get it. I do not hate Jeremy. Get it? I hate what he does. I hate what he is doing. And there is a difference. A big, big difference. Now, seeing that's out of the way, let's get into a couple of things. I already told you about the one guy. There was another guy on here. He gets on there. Well, tell us who the handwriting expert and all this crap. And I knew what he was trying to do was get me to say his name because I kept telling him, go Google it. The reason was, whatever I said, he was going to have a comeback for regardless. So why even go there? Just Google it yourself and find out. Finally, evidently he may have done it or whatever, but then he told me if I didn't have anything justifiable or whatever, this ain't his exact words, not to respond to his response. What the hell? It's my channel. Don't tell me I can't respond. If I choose not to, that's up to me, not him. People, remember, a channel is here for mostly, not everybody. In my case, it's just opinions. I'm 65 years old, so people don't expect me to be wanting to go out and get hundreds and thousands of viewers and get all this money and say, look what I done. Not even my intent. Now, two things, and at first, I'd say I was 55-45 believing Jeremy at first. But when things started to come out, verifiable things, not hearsay, then I started getting into a couple of things. And one, before what I was still more to the Jeremy deal, was the fact, and nobody could tell me anything, but logically, when you the adoption, okay, you have a home study, whether it's private or not, that's the law. Three things would have had to occur if it wasn't right. Well, two things, and the third one come true. One, if she was that bad a mother, or going to be that bad a mother, that means either the person, and I have no clue, male or female, would have had to lie for Lynette. Now, be it that it may, that did not happen, obviously. This person would have had to have a bad reputation of doing home studies. Nobody ever brought that up. So that one's out. And then you got, well, maybe this or this happened. Forget this or this happened, okay? Because it didn't. The other thing was, how about maybe this guy or girl, whoever it was, did the home study, took a bribe. Hello, Lynette doesn't have the money to do that. So that's out, which means the report that was sent to the judge and obviously was approved was legit. And you're not going to accuse the judge of being paid off because, once again, that'd be saying Lynette had all this money. So, them are facts. Them aren't made up things. That would have had to happen in order to this adoption be wrong. Not that that hasn't done that before, because you could find other cases it is, but there is not one indication that it was. Another thing is when they tried to file for a motion to get into sealed files, the person that filed that, which was the aunt or whatever you want to call her, because she's really not the aunt, was the fact that the address they used, there's nothing there. There's not a house or anything. And these are facts that people have checked. So you can deny them all you want, but this did happen. A person or persons went and checked on what the address she was using, and it comes out her stuff and everything, whether her physical body's there or not, I couldn't tell you, comes to the lady that gave birth to the child. Yes, the same address. Look it up. And the birth mother, or the birther in this case, had run over and killed a person, and her and her husband tried to cover it up. Huh. And you want that child to go to that home? Obviously, if you look at it, maybe there was a little bit of deception, maybe not. You have to make your own mind up, but that's what's out there. You know, and you got to get away from that stuff. 27 cases filed against her, 0 proven. That's harassment. I don't give a damn what you say. That's harassment. You can hate an individual all you want, but when you use that child to get to the mother and you're willing to harass, get other people to harass, that's BS. Them people that went into that property to remove that person's camper, here's some things wrong with that. They filmed the whole property, which I think it will going to be held up in court that that was wrong. Now, will Jeremy pay for their legal fees? Probably not. He'll dump them more than likely, and it's my opinion, he'll dump them. He's not going to pay for nothing from them. I'll give him credit if he does. He would deserve credit if he goes, okay, this happened, here it is. But I don't see it. See, and that's what I mean. I don't hate Jeremy. I hate the things he is doing. And other things that have happened there, outside of that, do you realize these people out there are saying, this, she did this wrong, she did that wrong, that's illegal? The majority of them out there saying it and backing Jeremy has a record. Yes. You didn't know that? Look, it's out there. Look, Jeremy had a record too. He's got his expunged, which good for him. If you are on something like that and get it expunged, I don't have a problem with that at all. That's doing stuff for yourself, and there must have been something there to do that. But there's other things that are still on his record, like trespassing, and yet he goes after TC for trespassing all the time, and he's the one that has done it. He's the one at one time, and it's out there, the video too, that he says he can went on this property because there's no trespassing signs. Every property TC has gone on has no trespassing signs. So that means this other person can do it because he thinks he's next to God. This other person has no business to do it. Guess what? People see through it. And, give people credit where credit due. Criticize where they need criticism. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know who it was or anything else, but I know Milltown's Best email or whatever it was, it looks like an email, was sent to another person and they put it out. And they trying to make a crime out of something that's not there. Bruce never said on that email he would represent Milltown's Best. He did not say give him money and he'll find you a lawyer. He said that, he could possibly find a lawyer in that area. He did not say he would. He did not say that he's going to get money from doing this. It was a friend talking to a friend, and that's it. And here's another thing I get. You guys are after Bruce, and you're after Milltown too. Milltown, you guys are pathetic going after him. You have no business going after him. All you're doing is deflecting from what these lawsuits and that are about. And it's not going to work. Quit deflecting. Quit treating Milltown's Best like a criminal. You're a jerk for doing that. Same way when it comes to Bruce. You're a jerk for going out there and lying. Here's a guy that put, well, not his family, but financial stress probably on his family to represent somebody he believes in. Okay, and by the way, guys, he's on one case out there, not all of them. Look it up. But you guys go after these two. You try to demonize them. And and yet the lawyer on the other side, you're praising him and all this stuff. How many of you realize that this other guy, and I have nothing against him, he sound when he's been on, he sounds pretty reasonable person. So it's not that I have anything against him. It's what is out there. One, he was a dentist and lost his license. Two, he could not get a law license in that state, so he had to go to another state. Them are facts. No, Jeremy, he wasn't the best lawyer, one of the best lawyers in the state of Florida. He's not. Which you did say that. So when you're trying to criticize one over the other, take a look at the one you're preaching is great. These are facts that's out there. These ain't me making them up. They're out there. Go look. So you guys lay off them two. Yes, they can take care of themselves. That's my opinion. Lay off of them. Shame on you for going after people that do not deserve to be gone after. You are part of the problem, not the solution. And what really got me turned off of Jeremy's annex, and like I said, I'll repeat this again because people don't get it. I don't have nothing against Jeremy as a person. I have everything against him of the ideals and what he has put out there to hurt people. A good example of why I quit watching a lot of them. I still do. I'll go look here and there because I like the storage auctions. But he's gotten worse and worse in my opinion. But the two things that really, other than that, nobody comes up with a good explanation why the home study was never debunked as being a good home study. Two things that really set me off, and I have every right, even though I'm not that far from there, to stand up for people when they need stood up for. And the two things that turned me off of him, as far as what his annex are, was one, his deal, he always says God, and he does everything God-like, and he does this because God did this. One, he's not God. Two, God wouldn't do what he is doing. You cannot use God or Jesus Christ for your sins. You cannot go out and commit sin under his name. Don't work that way. So I come from I'm not religious, okay? Get that out of the deal right now. I'm not that religious of a person. I believe in God. I don't go to church or nothing. But my mom was 100% Christian. She wouldn't even drink caffeine. She'd get up every morning. Now, she's had 10 kids, but she'd get up every morning, have Dad's coffee on. She would not drink it. The only pop she drank was either 7-Up or a root beer. There was other things, a little caffeine here and there she'd do just because it was in it. But, I probably in the years of being around my mom, and it was a lot of years, she died at 93 of B-cell cancer. She was 100% Christians. I never seen her, like I said, and all the time I was there, not even 24 times in a pair of pants. In her eyes, and the way she interpreted things, a woman was to wear a dress. And she did. She may have been only 5'1", redhead, but she had 10 kids, and she made sure we knew right from wrong. And she did teach us that. But she was so much a real Christian, is that she never forced one of her kids to do what she did or live that lifestyle. When you're younger, yeah, you got to do whatever. If it go to church or whatever, you got to do that when you're that young. But as you get older, that choice was yours, not hers. And she never once said you had to. She knew, because of her religious beliefs, it was your responsibility to choose. She said she could guide you, but you were going to take that responsibility yourself. So when I see all this, when he uses the religious aspect of things, what really turns me off of it is I know what a true Christian is. I live with one. You can make fun of my mom and you can make fun of me, but I live that, and I 100% guarantee that he, at least on here, what he does on the side when he's not on might be a completely different thing. But when he's on here, his attitude is not Christian. And in fact, if my mom was still alive today, she would have never called him Antichrist at all. She would have said, you know, his actions are kind of like being an Antichrist. So that was one turnoff on me. The other was going after that child. I'm sorry. I mean, he went after him after her under the pretenses that he wants to save that child. But then when you look at it, and you can have your own opinion on this, and this is 100% my opinion. It seems to me, and what has come out on here, okay, and what has come out on here, it very much looks like he hates this child's mother so much that he is willing to sacrifice that child to get the mother or get other people to join in. Maybe he's not, but that's the perception that is out there, and he has put out there himself. Maybe he needs to explain exactly what it is, but that's the way it comes off. That means several things if that's true. One, it's for a pretext to get money and viewership up, up, up. Two, you don't like yourself or anybody around you. But I tell you what, and that goes back to the first thing I talked about, being Christian. Those things, if you're out there doing that, knowing you're going to get more money and more views, that's not a Christian attitude. That's an attitude you have, but that ain't a Christian attitude. I'm sorry, you're not God. You don't get to do things God did. He did them for a reason. You don't get to do what he did. He guides you to what to do. What you do, it really isn't Christianity. Christian at all. And once again, I'm going to repeat myself in case you guys haven't caught on yet. I do not hate Jeremy. Okay? These are my opinions. I hate the things he's doing, but I don't hate him. I don't know the guy, never met him, probably never will. I've never met Lynette either, probably never will. But if she needs some backing on and encouragement, I will give that to them. Now there's another thing that's been out there people's kind of blew off. Jeremy said he's got these pictures he's going to put out there, and it'll beat the royal flush that Two Lee's put out there. Let's see. Let's do some elimination. And 100%, I'm not saying this is it, by any means, but this is a chance that it does exist, an opinion that it might exist. He said pictures. Well, let's equal that to what Lynette used to do for a living as a stripper. Stripper and pictures, what does that equal? He is trying to deflect from himself. He's out there, if he wasn't trying to be a bully or if he wasn't trying to cyber stalk, why does he drive around in his pickup and film her? Remember, he's scared. He's afraid for his life. And one of them pictures I seen yesterday when he went by, the brakes on his vehicle came on. That means he was slowing down. That really means he's scared. I wish I was that scared of a few people. And they showed him how he got all his cameras and that set up on his lawnmower. And one person, and I didn't see this, supposedly, and until I see it, I'm not saying it is true. He's setting it up so he can put a camera up on top of his pickup, which means he could see over the privacy fence. I tell you, if he was here and tried that, he'd be in jail. He would be in jail for cameras pointing on her property. And I think Jeremy has every right to protect his property. But protecting your property don't mean you put the cameras in somebody else's yard or point them there. They're not in her yard. You want your property protected means the cameras are on your property. Somebody walks on there, you know who it was. It has nothing to do with the neighbor you're stalking. And to me, personally, it is a form of stalking. Just because you get to say you're afraid don't mean you are afraid. I tell you what, and eventually it might be that protection order against them two need to be taken off in Ohio, because that's a joke to start with. And you knew it was a joke. You knew you couldn't do it in Florida, so you went there. And one day that'll come and bite you in the ass, because eventually that will be taken off. Then what are you going to do? And remember, and everybody says this, that protection order that Lynette dismissed, at no time was ever said that it can't be filed again. If it couldn't be filed again, they would have said with prejudice. Okay? That means she can go in and do it again. The judge can't stop her. The prosecuting attorney can't stop her. The judge can say no, but he cannot stop her. That is her right, as it would be your right. See, rights work both sides, not one. People quit being a fool and think they're only one. Here's another couple of things that's come out over the years. Jeremy always talked about this boat in town. He always criticized it all the time. Because he don't like TC, TC removed it. He won't even mention that boat again or who removed it, because he's a coward in that case, in my opinion. Not in everybody's opinion, but mine. He hasn't got the guts to stand up there, even though he didn't like the guy, and say, thank you, TC, for removing that boat. He took content from Jeremy by removing the boat. Yes, he did. When somebody does good, whether you like them or not, let it be known. Is it that hard? Oh, you might lose views if you do that. That's true. Or somebody might not give you an extra money if you don't recognize things like that. You got to keep the hate on. And here's the thing that happened the other day, and it was out there. They showed a legal document from the courts, what day it was actually took place, but the other day it was shown. And Jeremy, guess what? He's not saying anything about it. You know why? And this is a document. This ain't me saying this is the way it should be. This is what's out there. The one lawsuit they have out there, they put in that it was frivolous and they should pay, the other side pay for all legal fees, and that should be thrown out because it was frivolous. Guess what? The judge didn't think it was frivolous. He denied their claim, and the court dates will still go on. He ain't said that yet, but that's out there. Just go look. Go to the court system, and it's there. Sometimes don't take people's word for it. Just take the opportunity and go look. Now, there's people out there that has been going with Jeremy. Whatever he says is the truth. And so they don't even look. They don't even check things. All they see is that $sign going into their account. That's all they care about. They're willing to sacrifice a person's life and a person's well-being for their own benefit. Shame on you. Shame on Jeremy for making money out of a bad situation. Get it taken care of. See, if Jeremy really was afraid of himself or her, not himself, who knows, maybe he is afraid of himself, but he would have been one of them saying, yes, I'm glad they're putting up that fence. I don't have to deal with them or look at them anymore. But he don't. He's doing everything possible to get around it, to film in their yard. And like I said, if you were here at the state I am, you wouldn't even get away with it. You couldn't even be pointing your cameras directly in their yard. You'd be in trouble. Every state's different. You got to look at every state. And I'm glad they're different in the respect states need to run their states like they see fit. But here, he wouldn't be getting away with that. People have tried stuff like that. Don't work. People have gotten protection orders here against somebody, and they have actually did kind of like Jeremy has done. You know what happened to them? The person with the protection order that filed it gets in trouble because of what they do. Is it worth it in the end? That's the thing. Is it worth it in the end to try to destroy the people they're destroying? Shame on every one of you that's out there doing this. You're not wanting to help. You wanting to prosper for the most of you. There'll be some out there that want to help. Don't get me wrong. But the majority of them out there cares less about that child, cares less about Lynette, cares less about John. They just see the $signs, and that's what they want. And that's what they go for. Oh, personally, I probably wouldn't want to live by Lynette or Jeremy, either one. That doesn't mean I hate Lynette either. But I do understand if I was going after content and had a big channel, why she would be an easy mark. Her and John can go off the deep end really, really fast. They have no money, so you would have never thought they'd get a lawyer and take it as far as it has. But thank God to Bruce and the lawyer in Florida standing up for what is right. They need all the praise in the world for what they are doing, not a bunch of crap that others are putting on them that have nothing to do with this case. Another example of people doing stupid things is they'll say, well, this guy did this guy did that. And I kind of touched on this before. Well, these guys have a record too. And if you want to come after me, come after me. I'll tell you what, I've never been in prison, never been to jail, never been arrested. Never. I'm 65 years old. None of that's ever happened to me. Yeah, and I'll admit, I grew up out in the middle of nowhere, and virtually it was the middle of nowhere, but guess what? I loved it, and I'd do it all over again. But as far as me, I don't care. I'm not going to lose sleep over ignorant comments. I'm not going to lose sleep over good comments as far as that go either. We all want good comments, but the ignorances you just got to throw aside because a lot of them people out there haven't got a clue. Now, maybe a little different if I lived there in Otter Creek. Yes, I'm saying Otter Creek. I'll tell you why. I grew up on two ranches mostly. There was a couple of small months in between, but the first ranch I lived on was called Badger Creek Ranch. We never called it Creek. It was always Badger Creek. We knew what the name was, but that's how we said it. Everybody coming into town or out in the middle of nowhere would call it that. There was a creek called Spring Creek. It was always called Spring Creek. Seldom do you ever hear anybody say creek. So I do know the difference, okay? I got the proof. I lived on a place called Badger Creek. Out in the middle of nowhere, like I said. So if you want to come after me, whatever. I ain't going to lose no sleep over it. I don't give a damn. But I do give a damn about how people treat other people and what is going on in that small town. See, when you're from a small town, I don't care where that small town is, you're going to pay attention if it comes up. Your mind goes there automatically. But when you demean people, you're the problem, not the other person. You maybe say Lynette was 100% wrong. What you're doing is wrong also. It don't make two wrongs make a right. Remember that? What you're doing is excessive and being a jerk. 100%. And like I said, you could be right about Lynette. It wouldn't matter. Your actions speak louder. Your actions is showing you don't care. You're more in it for the money. Now, maybe you're not, but that is what your actions are showing. Maybe you're trying to do good for that child, but your actions is showing different. I'm not questioning getting out here and protecting your property and all that. That's a good thing. Or protecting yourself. That's a good thing. But you can't go out there and say how much you're afraid of Lynette and you got your brake lights on when you're going by filming. All you're trying to do is get her to do something wrong so you can run back to Ohio and say, look, she broke it again. That protection order needs stopped. You guys out there that are saying it should be still on and all that, and you're 100% behind Jeremy. Here's the thing. If you're behind somebody 100% of the time, it's not Jeremy, that's the fool. It's for you believing everything. Because nobody should 100% agree with another person. Unless it's God, that's an exception. But so that makes you part of the problem, not the solution. If you were part of the solution, you would have been out there telling Jeremy. Now, I don't know why his lawyer's not, to back off, leave that person alone, You got the protection order you wanted. Leave her alone, and but you won't. Goes back to what is your real intent. And people that's, like I said, I was mostly on Jeremy's side. I know quite a few people that are no longer. They don't trust Jeremy. Whether it's legitimate or not is in the eyes of the beholder. So I'm not calling him a liar. I'm not calling him anything else. These comments are 100% made on his actions, not him as a person, not the people that are following as a person. Because some of these guys are probably really, really nice guys. But sometimes you have to distinguish between the two. You know, my life has been great. You know, here's what I'd done though different. If I was there and I was in, and I recommend Lynette not to do this because I can be deceiving, deceitful guy, not deceiving, and and I love the world. I love people in the world. I cherish the people around me. But if I was put in that situation, what I'd do is take a couple of chairs out there, find where one of them cameras is, and sit there all day, let you go back and forth, because it, just like Guapo, when they didn't react back, you would try harder and harder, and eventually you would be the one that loses, or Jeremy would be the one that loses control. That was obvious with Guapo. And also it was caught on when he put out a email that Guapo had sent, and it was not really the truth, because when you looked at before and after, that statement was kind of falsified. It was a true statement, but it was taken out of context because it, before and after was not shown, trying to make Guapo look bad. Guess what? It didn't make him look bad. It made him stand up even more. And you can't stand that. I know that. But that is exactly what happened. Then you criticized Olight. Okay, I have no clue about Olight. I've never even seen one around here. Supposedly they're all good in that, and they probably are, but it's something I've never seen, never had. If I did see it, I didn't pay attention to it. But if I was Olight, you were up there throwing that Olight around like you were. They had every right to get rid of you as a sponsor. 100% right, because what you doing was wrong, and you trying to reverse it to make it look like it was their fault is BS. You were wrong, admit it. You want everybody to admit when they're wrong, but when you're wrong, you don't want to admit to it. I guess that's life, you know, that here nor there. But you got to look at the stuff out there. And some, like I said before a couple of times, I was more on Jeremy's side until stuff started coming out that was documented. Just go look. Just like the handwriting expert. Let's say he's the best in the world. You can try to demean him any way you like, because he's had cases he couldn't go in and testify against. So has the person he's doing. Same things happened to her. But here's the funny thing. This guy's don't know nothing, according to Jeremy at times. Let's see. This guy's dad, that's number one expert in the world on handwriting. His son had a handwriting school. The dad was a professor, and his student was one that Jeremy has. That's where she went to school at to learn. And yet he tries to demean this other person that was the expert. You don't think people will catch on to that? Here's something you and your lawyers should really think about, because it will be a jury trial if it goes that far. People will see that. They will see him. They will know he's number one. Do you think you're going to get the majority of the people to back you? No. You are wrong if you believe that. Just use some common sense here. It's not going to happen. Don't go in there, even if you were right, don't go in there thinking that you're going to get 100% of the people. You won't. That's not going to happen. I just had to get this stuff out. Some because of comments I've had. Like I said, most of them are great, and I love them whether they agree with me or disagree. But when you start looking at information that is out there instead of opinion, my stuff's opinion, but you go out and look, you start to see documentation, real documentation, not phony. Because, like I said, Jeremy already refused. At this point, he might tomorrow or whatever, that the case is going on. The judge decided it was not a frivolous case. And Jeremy has a tendency to do that. If he loses or not where he wants it to be, he may eventually say it, but he puts it off as long as he can. I understand why, but still it's there, and you might as well do it up front. And I'm going to close with this. Remember, I'm against what he is doing, not against him as a human being. And there is a difference, and you have to decide which you'd rather do. That's just like if I was in Otter Creek, I would not have voted for Don or Russ because they just was a mess as councilman. A big mess. But I guarantee you what, I'd probably be talking to them. I would distinguish between their council position and them as human beings. We got to come together as humans. We got to stand together as humans. We can't let the evil go on, even though maybe evil's saying, Christianity I am. Nah, be very careful of anybody that does that. And I don't care who it is. It could be your friends, your enemies. Pay attention. Pay attention to what is out there. I love every one of you, whether you love me or not. I do. I appreciate you all. And remember, most of my stuff does not come from commenting on Jeremy or Lynette. My subscribers come from my shorts. And if you think you can get a whole lot of hours doing that, you can't. That's because I love doing the shorts. Money is not that important to me, but enjoying myself is, and that will be number one to me. That's why some of this crap that's been pulled on other people, I don't give a crap if it was done to me. I will still sleep good at night. But I love every one of you. I trust that at some point, if you disagree, you can still disagree, but we can come together as human beings. Thank every one of you.